Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's Q&A video. So for today, I am going to be answering all of your guys' questions. I asked on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for questions. You guys definitely delivered. I have a lot to get through. So I have a good feeling that this video is probably gonna go up late, so I do apologize for that. I did notice two themes for the questions. We have a lot of business related questions, and then I received a lot of questions about relationships, which I felt was very interesting because our church actually just started a series all about relationships, and I feel like in the last couple years, everything that has taken place in the world, all of the political divide, of course, COVID and all that, it has definitely impacted our relationships. So that'll be very interesting. I definitely feel like in the last year, I've had to really take a step back and reevaluate a lot of my personal relationships. So I'm probably gonna go on a rant or two during this video. I do have my coffee right here. This is a sea salt caramel cold iced latte with sweet cold foam on top. I've been getting kind of fancy with my coffee and it's been really fun. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Now I did paraphrase a lot of these questions because some people felt comfortable just being like very open with me and personal. I feel very blessed that you feel comfortable being open with me because that's what our community is all about. I love building those relationships with you guys, but I'm not sure you want me putting all your personal details in this video. So some of these are paraphrased and shortened up. I kind of just wrote a list because they were in multiple different areas. So let's go ahead and dive into it and get started. The first question I received is actually related to relationships. So I recently started a business a few months ago and I noticed that it has impacted my relationships. Any advice on maintaining healthy relationships while running a business? Also, how do you handle negative feedback? There's a lot. That's a big question, a very big question. So when you embark on any endeavor where you are on a path to bettering your life, bettering yourself, growing as a person, and all of that, you may find that some of your relationships will dissolve. And it's very, very difficult to not take that personally. But what I've learned throughout the years is that, and there's a quote actually that I wrote down specifically for this question because it's something I refer to very often. We have three types of friends in life: friends for a reason, for a season, and friends for a lifetime. I've learned in my own life to focus a lot on quality friendships versus quantity friendships. And unfortunately, sometimes when you are leveling up, as they say, so it'll kind of bring out like the insecurities in some friends that you have, anything that they're personally struggling with. And so when they distance themselves from you, it may not be out of malicious intent. It might just be that they're kind of realizing they have some things that they want to work towards and stuff. They might find your success to be a little intimidating or whatever it may be. Of course, jealousy can pop out, but I think the important thing to remember is that it's not coming from a malicious place. Now, there are people who would love to see you fail, and I've certainly experienced that as well. Speaking of like negativity and negative feedback and stuff, I receive passive aggressive comments and malicious messages and things like that. And it's something I struggle with, to be totally honest. I need to develop a thicker skin for sure. I tend to be very sensitive when it comes to that kind of stuff. I am very type A, very much a perfectionist. So I invite constructive criticism because I feel like mistakes are the greatest learning opportunities, and people will see something that you did not see. And so I am all about that. But when someone is just being mean to be mean, it hurts my feelings. It does. There's no other way to put it. So that's something, especially as my channel continues to grow, my business continues to grow, that I need to really work on, is getting a thicker skin and just having more confidence in myself so that when I receive those comments, they don't affect me as deeply as they do. But a lot of people are, as they say, keyboard warriors, and the things that they're saying to you online, they would never say to you to your face. So anyways, so that's that. Just kind of keep in mind that when people are saying negative things, hurt people. So typically it's coming from a place of jealousy, or it's just coming from a place of they're struggling, and that's the only way that they know to communicate, unfortunately. And listen, we are all, I feel like we've all experienced this at some point in our lives. I know I've had seasons in my life where I've felt really stuck or really insecure with certain areas, and it was really difficult for me to be happy for people who were succeeding when I was in that place. And I'm sure I'll be there again. I think we all experience it, so no one is innocent here. But I think that that is just really important to keep in mind, is hurt people. And the best thing that you can do is just pray for that person, and pray that whatever is making them feel so like negative or bad, where they're feeling like they need to act out on others in a toxic way, that lifts from them and they can be alleviated of that hurt. Because yeah, I feel like that's the best thing that we can do, is just pray for those people, and I certainly do. Back to maintaining relationships. I feel very blessed that I actually do have a very close core group of girlfriends where we can go months and months without talking, and when we get together, we have a blast. They know just about everything there is to know about me, and we just openly share with each other. We do genuinely cheer each other on. We are genuinely so happy for each other when things are going well in our lives. We just want the best for each other. I feel very blessed that I have those people in my life, and if I don't text them back right away because I'm busy, they're not offended by that, and vice versa. I just figure they're busy, no big deal. We all pretty much have young kids. One of my girlfriends has older kids, but she's just as busy. Kids make life busier in general, but we all have lots going on. We all work and have families and all that kind of stuff, and so we just understand that about each other. And when we do get in touch with each other, I mean, you guys should see some of the like text message threads with them. We're actually getting together on the 22nd of January, and I'm excited. We usually get together like every 3 months or so. It takes a lot to coordinate and everything, but we always have just a blast when we're together. So I feel very fortunate that I have friends like that in my life. But, and this is going to sound harsh, but it's just the truth, and I don't mean for it to sound harsh. Some people, if they're not getting from the relationship what they used to from you, they will just disappear. You know, some people just want something from you. I feel like there's no better way to say that. And when they're no longer getting it, they are like, well, this person, you know, whatever. It sounds very selfish, but you know, it just, that's the quote. We have 3 types of friends. Friends for a reason, friends that we learn something from, and the chapter closes on that friendship, and you know, you can just be so thankful that you, like, I have one friend in particular that comes to mind who I survived high school with, and you know, her and I still keep in touch here and there, but for the most part, our friendship is not as close as it used to be. I thought it always would be. But of course I, you know, think of her often, and I adore her and all of that. But like, you know, there's just friends for a reason, friends for a season, same thing, getting through the high school years, or you learn a lesson from that person, they inspire you in some way, and then friends for a lifetime. And I am all about quality versus quantity when it comes to friendships, and I had to really reevaluate a lot of my friendships in the past year, because I am the type of person where I put my whole heart into things, and it's one of my strengths, but it is certainly one of my weaknesses for sure. I have a very generous, giving nature, and some people definitely take advantage of that, and I can put myself into very vulnerable positions to get hurt. So whenever I sense that I am putting into a friendship more than the other person is putting into the friendship with me, then I kind of think to myself, okay, like, let's go ahead and back off. And that's not to say that you shouldn't be generous and giving. Just know that you have to protect yourself in some way. And I don't really know how to have surface level like relationships with people. I really put myself out there quite a bit. I share a lot, even on YouTube. I put myself in very vulnerable positions quite often. I feel like it's a gift that I was given from God to be very open and transparent about things. But like I said, it's a gift and it's also kind of a curse because it's something that's put me in very like weird situations before. And so I have to have boundaries and I have to protect myself. And so in this past year especially, I definitely feel like I lost some friendships, and of course it stings. It sucks when you lose friendships, but my faith has helped carry me through a lot of that, because I feel like God places people in your life for a reason. And this sounds really morbid, and I've never shared this before. Some of my closest friends know, my husband knows, and my husband says I'm crazy, and that's fine. But since I was very little, I've always had this like kind of intuitive feeling that my time on earth is more limited. All of our time on earth is limited, but I've just always felt like I am not going to get very old. I know that sounds so morbid, but it's been the greatest gift ever. And I could be totally wrong. Maybe I'll live to be 101. I don't know. But I've just always had this intuitive feeling that I need to make the most of things. So in my life, when it comes to relationships, if someone makes a difference in my life, if I don't know, I'm all about, when you leave this earth, it's not about how much money you made or how fancy your purse was or how fancy your house was. It's about how you made people feel. And whenever someone makes a difference in my life, or, you know, I genuinely care about a person or love them, I let them know. I let them know, because I think it's important to let people know those things. And so, yeah, I don't know where exactly I'm like getting at with all of that, but relationships are hard. Relationships are very hard, and there's no easy answers at all. I think probably a lot of us have experienced some relationships that have been affected by the last couple of years. If you started a business, you're definitely going to, you know, have your relationships impacted in some way. My best advice is, if there's a relationship that you absolutely like is top priority to preserve and things, then make sure you do that. I know for Andrew and I, we in the past have been awful about making time for each other. I feel like we've always been great at like communicating and everything. Andrew and I are really great communicators, but we don't spend that one-on-one time with each other as much as we should. And so sometimes, like, as you're growing, you know, as a person, you change, and you have to get to know your spouse over and over and over again, I feel like, because the person I am today is not the person Andrew married, and vice versa. We've both changed a lot since we first met each other. So we schedule date nights with each other. I know my friend Kelsey and I, she's my best friend, and we get together as often as we can. We go do nails together, go do Trader Joe's together. I'll go and just hang out with her a bit with her for a bit, but she has little babies now. She's got little twins that just turned 7 months old, I think. That's crazy. So yeah, she's busier these days. We're not able to get together as often, but we just kind of know that about each other. And there's been multiple times where we forget to text each other back and we're like, oh, you know, I'm sorry. And we both get it. So, but I make sure to make time for that relationship and things like that. And then my family and stuff, I make time to see them as often as I can. But I also did have very open discussions with my close friends and family, letting them know like, hey, I may not be as available for a little bit, especially when I was working full-time and running my business. I don't feel like I'm any less busy, really. I feel like I'm more busy these days than I was back then, which is so weird, but they know that I have small kids, I'm running a business, you know, all these types of things. And so they just know that I'm busier, and we do our best to get together as often as possible. But yeah, anyways, I feel like I've rambled forever about that particular question. So let's move on. I hope some of that was at least a little bit helpful, but yeah, we should probably move on to the next question. So the next question is, what are my greatest struggles with being a small business owner, and any advice for new business owners? I feel like I should dedicate a whole video to this, honestly, because I have a lot of thoughts. I've learned quite a bit. I've been running the business completely on its own. My last day at my full-time job was August 31st. So about 5 months now, 4.5 months, I've been just solely running my business, and I feel like I have learned a lot in that time. I think the thing that has been the hardest lesson for me, the greatest struggle, if you will, is balancing my time, because it is just me. I am my CEO, my CFO, my marketing director, my social media manager, my own accountant, you know, to an extent. I'm not doing my own taxes, I'm hiring someone for that. I manage product development, I do everything. I wear all of the hats are here. And I want to wait a little bit longer before I hire someone, just to make sure that financially, like, things are still in a good direction and that I can afford to hire someone, and all of that kind of stuff. So once I'm able to hire someone, I feel like I will have a little bit more balance, but I definitely do struggle. And you guys probably see that in my day in the life videos. And my best advice to combat that is to probably just have realistic expectations. You are not gonna work a 9-to-5 schedule when you are just starting a business. It's just not possible at all. From what I've experienced, it's just not possible. I work 60-hour weeks most of the time. I work as long as I can during the day, and then I'll take a break for dinner and hang out with my family, and then usually I'll work more in the evening. And that's something that I definitely want to get away from. I work weekends and all of that. But the more I try to fight it, the more I just get frustrated and stuff. And so part of me just feels like, okay, like, this is gonna be for a season, like, this is just going to be how it is. But the thing that I struggle with is I feel like you can't let your health fall by the wayside, and I definitely have. I don't move as much as I should because I'm always at my desk working. I don't eat like at regularly scheduled meal times, and sometimes I don't make the best decisions because I'm stress eating and stuff like that. So that is something that I am working on. It's just trying to get very intentional with my time. And the thing that I struggle with too, I would say, is that I have a very difficult time saying no. And the thing with small businesses, when you're creating products for people, not everyone's gonna love it, and you're going to disappoint people, and you can't do it all. Even if you're working 24 hours a day, you can't do it all. So that has been tough. I've learned that I have to be okay with disappointing people. And that is a very hard pill to swallow. But not everyone is going to agree with the choices you make in your business. And if a product is not selling the way you like, and there's only like a small group of people who are purchasing the product. I just talked about this in my Facebook group with a la carte stickers, because the complete kits in my shop sell way more than the a la carte. I did ultimately decide to keep the a la carte because I want to give them more time. As my shop grows, I may find that they become more of a popular option. But at the end of the year, I'm just gonna give it this year, at the end of the year, if I feel like it's not worth the investment of my time, then I will probably stray away from that. And that will upset some people for sure, because there's some people who really like having that option. But again, you are the only person running the show and you can't do it all. And there are other projects that I want to get to, other products I want to create and stuff like that. So it's just, you have to really pay attention to where you're investing your time, and whatever you can do to, you know, scale back and organize your time and make sure that that investment of time, that there's a good return on that investment, is very important. And it takes a lot of experimenting and trying new things and learning lessons as you go to figure all of that out. But I inherently am, again, a very like generous person. I want to say yes to everything, but I just can't, because I can't do it all. It's a very hard thing for me to accept. So I would say that is the greatest struggle, and that kind of does tie into advice for new business owners, is don't be afraid to fail, because you will fail. And don't let failure stop you. Let it motivate you and just learn from it, because I've certainly made mistakes with my business. One in particular comes to mind, and I won't go into it or anything, but if I could go back in time, I would have never done a certain thing, because it just turned into a big old crazy mess. And so you're going to make mistakes like that though, and then you just learn and you grow from it. So don't let those mistakes, mishaps, whatever, don't let it stop you. Just view it as a learning opportunity. The people who really want to support you are still gonna be there through the mistakes, and the people who, you know, you have to keep in mind that you are serving a consumer. You're creating a product for someone to use, and so you are going to lose customers, you're going to gain customers. You know, some people aren't going to like the direction you're going with your shop, but go with your gut. You know, be honest with yourself, go with your gut, and like I said, the people who really want to support you will continue to support you, and you have to develop a thick skin, because, you know, some customers will certainly let you know when they're not happy with something you've done, and it can be very hard to not take those things personally, especially when you're investing so much of your time, making sacrifices and things like that to create certain things. But just know that they're coming from a place of they're the customer, you've created a product for them, and that's their feedback. And so you have to kind of stay very objective about it and take the emotion out, which can be very difficult to do. And it's something that I still struggle with personally. So that is that. Next question is, what made me switch from paper planning to digital? So I actually do have a video all about this, but if you go way back on my channel, I used Erin Condren products and stickers for a very long time, for a couple years I think, and then I switched fully to digital I think in the spring of last year sometime. So I've been doing solely digital for almost a year now. I used to do a combo of digital and paper planning, and I encourage you to watch that video, but to put it in a nutshell, I wanted more freedom and flexibility when it came to planning. You probably noticed this as a theme in my videos, I would switch planners all of the time. I would, you know, I could never make it work for me personally. And so I like the freedom and flexibility that comes with digital planning, because it's so stinking customizable. You can customize it so easily. I never have to be afraid of using a sticker and accidentally tearing it, or using my favorite sticker and having to buy more of it or anything like that. I can reuse stickers over and over again. I can make them fit wherever I want them to fit. And The portability is also really nice. The fact that it syncs to my phone, my computer, my iPad, like everything syncs is amazing. So yeah, so that's why I ultimately made the switch from paper to digital, is for that freedom and flexibility. And I will do like a whole recap of like how my first year being all digital went. I think sometime in March I'm gonna share a video about that, just sharing like, you know, the pros, the cons, all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that, but that is essentially why I made the switch. I also do find that I save money, which is nice, because I was one of those where I would get like FOMO, fear of missing out a lot. And if I saw someone like buying a sticker or doing something, I felt like I had to have it. And so I spent way too much money on all of that kind of stuff. And that, by the way, is one of my main goals, like one of my driving motivations for creating the products that I do, is that my ultimate goal is to like make my planners so customizable that you won't feel the need to like switch very much and all that kind of stuff. And so that is something, because I feel like that's something a lot of us struggle with in the planner community. So that is like one of my like missions, is to create something very customizable but also very easy to customize, because you don't want it to be too manual of a process, if that makes sense. So lots of exciting things coming up. That was sort of a little hint plug, if you will. What motivated me to start my business and my YouTube channel? So I went into great detail about this in my I Quit video back when I quit my full-time job, but the spirit of entrepreneurship has always been a part of who I am. I have always been, I don't know, I have an entrepreneur brain. I guess you could say I have an entrepreneur spirit. And so for as long as I can remember, I have always had some sort of side something going on. I've actually had other YouTube channels in the past. I had one about motherhood that got hijacked. I'm still very bitter about it. And then I had one that was just about budgeting right before this one that I actually deactivated. And then now I have this one. And so I've pretty much always, for years and years, since before, well, no, since my daughter was very young, my oldest daughter was very young, I've had a YouTube channel. I just always was so like enamored with YouTube videos. I love the community that it builds. I love just kind of getting to see regular normal people in their day-to-day lives that are relatable and kind of share what you're going through. So YouTube has always just fascinated me. And sorry, my phone, my notifications keep going off. I should just put do not disturb on real quick. Okay, so, and then what motivated me to start my business is kind of the same thing. It's just, I don't know, I became a part of the planner community. I realized after a couple years that paper and pen was not working for me. I stumbled across a random digital plan with me video one day, and I was just like, what is this? I felt so inspired by it, and I was just like, a whole world opened up to me. And I think within that same week, I signed up for a workshop that taught you how to design digital planners. I started kind of playing around with it, and I was just like, I think I'm gonna start a business. Like, I've always wanted to start a business, and you know, this, I don't know, that's kind of what started the whole thing, was that paper and stickers was not really working for me as well as I had hoped. And I don't know, I fell down the rabbit hole of digital planning, and I like creating, I like designing things. And so, yeah, it was just very, very fun. And that's kind of how I got started. That's what motivated me. So the next question is, how do I decide on the color schemes and designs in my kits? Where do I find my art? So if you are looking into creating your own products, whether it be digital, stickers, or whatever it may be, there are multiple sources where you can find art. There's creativemarket.com, you can find art on Etsy, you can find it in Design Studio something or other. There's a whole bunch of places where you can find, no, Creative Fabrica? Something like that. The one thing I will say is that you have to be you have to respect the artist's work. So keep in mind, if you're creating a product that you're planning to sell, you need to get permission from that artist to use their work. Super important. And sometimes purchasing a commercial license is not enough. You need to also message that person to get clarification. So I, as a general like best practice, message every single artist where I'm thinking about using their art for a kit, and I just make sure like, hey, here's my shop, this is what I create, this is what I do to the images, is it okay? I just want to make sure it's okay to use your art. And I get that written permission, and I have a list of the shops that I have that written permission from. So I'm very, very cautious about it, and I definitely recommend that you do the same, because you always want to respect someone's work. That's so important. You'd never want to like copy something or use something without someone's permission. I get the color schemes from the art that I decide to use. I will kind of take a look at the different tones and the color combinations, and I extract the hex codes. I kind of place them next to each other, see how it all looks together, and that's how I decide on that. I also think about like the theme of the month. So for example, in February, Valentine's Day. February is kind of known for like love and Valentine's Day and pink and that kind of stuff. And so I like to have a good balance with my kits too. So I wanted to have a very like Valentine's Day traditional kit, but then I wanted to kind of extract some pieces from it. So I did like the chocolate kit and the Paris kit and all of that kind of stuff. So I spend a lot of time researching the art that I want to use for my kits and making sure I absolutely love it and all of that. So that's kind of how I decide. I just kind of do some window shopping, see how I like things. Sometimes I purchase art and I don't like how it looks in the stickers, so it's a whole process. I've gotten a lot of requests to share the behind the scenes of how I create my stuff, but honestly, you know, trade secrets, you have to protect the authenticity of your work. And so I share the programs I use, I share where I find my art, but I won't like share my favorite artists or things like that, you know, just because I don't want anyone copying my work. Anyone like wouldn't want that. You know, you put a lot of time and effort into your work, so you don't want people just kind of copying what you do. You have to kind of come up with something that is your own, put your own spin on it and everything. So but the programs I use to design my stickers, it's gonna sound insane, and it kind of is, but each program offers different tools that kind of piece everything together. So I use a combination of PicMonkey, Canva, Keynote, and Procreate to create all my stickers. I know it's a lot. I have my own system down, and I do share behind the scenes of creating the kits here and there. I'll show little pieces of putting together the GoodNotes file and stuff like that. But keep in mind, because I do get a lot of messages about like, you know, where'd you find that art, and you know, what is your exact process and stuff. And a Secret Owl Society is the course I took to learn a lot about how to create digital products. And also Wild and Solo, I think her name's Michelle. She has a great course about how to create digital stickers. And then there's a lot on YouTube as well. A lot of, you know, tutorials for creating digital planners. So the best thing you can do is watch those videos and just get in there and start playing around with it. And you know, my planners have certainly changed a lot since I opened my shop. My style has changed. You know, I've kind of thought of things a little bit differently and stuff. So yeah, so that is kind of how I feel like it's like a lot that I just answered there, but that's how I do what I do. Plans for the meal planner, recipe book, and any future projects. So I'm glad that this got brought up because I do want to chat about it for a second. So I am currently playing catch up with sticker kits. So I'm releasing the March sticker kits on Wednesday, and then I'm immediately going into April sticker kit mode, and April sticker kits will be released on the 9th of February. Once I release April sticker kits, that's when I'm going to start working on the meal planner and recipe book and all of that. I do want to get that up ASAP for you guys, so my goal is to get it up before the end of February and everything. So that's my goal for those projects. Once the meal planner and recipe book and probably 1 to 2 more scripts bundles are up in the shop, I will be taking a break from extra things like add-ons and scripts bundles. And I know there's a lot of requests out there, but again, I'm only one person and I need to switch gears to focusing on the July to June planners. I'm planning to do something kind of different. Also, in addition to the July to June, so I don't want to scare anybody, but I'm planning on offering another type of option. So I need to dedicate, I want to release all of that, the July to June planners, towards the end of May, beginning of June. So March and April need to be very focused on that particular project, because creating these planners, you guys, takes months. You know, making sure the hyperlinks work, doing testing, all of that. I used my products for a bit before I launched them just to make sure that I like everything. I like the way it flows and all of that. So a lot goes into it. And so I'm gonna need to take a little break from extra things to create those items. So that is what is coming down the pipeline for Planning to Prosper. You can expect to see some add-ons and scripts bundles in February, potentially beginning of March, just depending on how things go. And then you won't see anything extra like add-ons and scripts bundles until after the July to June planners are launched. I just want to give myself plenty of time to work on those new planners as possible. So that is what is coming up in the near future. And then let's see. And then the next question, do I have any regrets in quitting my full-time job? No. My previous full-time job and I were not a good match. I did what I had to do, but honestly, I just was not ever very like super comfortable there. I didn't agree with some, like I won't go into details, but anyways, no, I don't regret it. So how did Andrew and I meet? We actually met on eHarmony. So I had met another guy named Ryan on eHarmony. We dated for probably a month, and then that just did not end well. It was just weird. He was like super hung up on his ex-girlfriend, and it was just not a good situation. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start my full-time job soon. I had graduated college and I was starting my first job out of college, and I was like, I'm just gonna take a break from dating. Like I just don't wanna date anyone. I'm just gonna focus on like my new job and all that. And then lo and behold, I go on to eHarmony to cancel it, and Andrew messaged me. And of course, I think my husband is very handsome. So his picture grabbed my attention, his message grabbed my attention, his profile, all of that. And we talked on Skype for like 2 months straight before we ever met in person. We kind of built that like foundation of friendship, which was good. And then we met, he actually flew out for my birthday, and immediately met my family and stuff, and the rest was history. So he and I met on eHarmony. We are a success story of eHarmony. And it's just crazy how it happened, because I was going on there to cancel, and you know, God works in mysterious ways. So do we plan to have more kids? No, we do not. The one thing we have talked about is potentially adopting in the future. It's something that Andrew and I have actually always talked about since we were dating, is adopting one day. So I don't feel like we're in a position to do that right now. And I think that God will let us know when the time is right for that. But I won't say that our family is done growing, because I honestly think that one day we potentially will adopt. But as far as having our own, you know, biological children, that chapter has now closed. So I'm very happy with my 2 beautiful, amazing little girls, and we definitely feel very at peace with that decision. For a little bit, when Julia was getting a little older and stuff, I honestly had some regrets. I was like, I don't know, but now I feel like we're definitely at a point where like we're very content with that decision. Advice for strengthening my faith. I love this question. So when it comes to strengthening your faith, I feel like the best thing you can do is get plugged into a really good church around you. I absolutely love our church. We are also plugged into a Bible study group. So I feel like a great way to strengthen your faith is to do that. Get plugged into a good church and then just find people, you know, who have similar goals to you that you can surround yourself with. There's a saying like you become more like the top 5 people, or like the 5 people you spend the most time with, something like that. So surround yourself with those type of people that, you know, challenge you and that help you grow in your faith. And then my greatest piece of advice would probably be to just talk to God. God wants to hear from you, and you can just talk to him in a casual way, just chat with him. And that, I think, helps quite a bit. You know, diving into the word, doing a Bible study helps quite a bit. I think that is important. Taking time to pray, taking time to journal. I think those are great ways to strengthen your faith. So just make sure that you're setting aside time for that. I personally like to do my Bible study first thing in the morning. It's the first part of my day. It's just diving into my Bible, kind of journaling about it, all of that. We go to church every Sunday. We go to our Bible study group every Monday. And yeah, I feel like that's the best way to strengthen your faith. And then I talk to God like all the dang time. All the time. I just need him a lot, all the time, no matter the season. If I'm going through highs, lows, I need God in my life. And so I feel like I talk to him all the time. So yeah. And then how am I doing overall? I liked this question because I'm not often asked just how am I doing? I am doing great. I, you know, have definitely been struggling with balance and all of that and self-care. But you guys have all probably heard that before if you are not new here. So it's just something I am working on. So physically, I am feeling better. I have, you know, been putting more effort into losing weight, tracking calories, things like that. And I am starting to lose weight. So I'm feeling better in that sense. I've also been putting more effort into getting adequate sleep. So that has been helping. And just being a lot more, you know, intentional with my time and organized with my time, and working on getting organized with my business and, you know, breaking the bigger tasks into smaller tasks and all of that, so I'm not feeling as overwhelmed on a day-to-day basis. It's a work in progress, but overall, I am very blessed. My family's healthy, we're happy, we're good. So no complaints over here. I think all is well. And yeah, I appreciate that question. So anyways, guys, that is it for this Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know. I'm kind of thinking about doing a Q&A on a monthly basis. This was just really fun, kind of getting your guys' questions. I think I got all the questions. If I missed any, just ask them below and I'll try to get it in my next Q&A. But let me know if you'd like to see these Q&As more often, like on a monthly basis or something. I would love to do that because honestly, this is fun and it's just a really great way, I feel like, to connect with you guys. But yeah, that is it. So again, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to catch all my future videos, and I will chat with y'all later. Bye.